Hi everybody, my name is Lorraine Mazerolle. I'm a Professor of Criminology at the University of Queensland. This is a presentation that is reporting the results of a systematic review that we conducted for the US Department of Interior. It was a grant from the US Department of Interior to the Campbell collaboration and a sub-grant to myself and my colleagues at the University of Queensland and my colleague Dr. Angela Higginson at Queensland University of Technology. The title of the review is Police Programs that Seek to Increase Community Connectedness for Reducing Violent Extremism, Behaviour, Attitudes and Beliefs. So the rationale for the review is that police programs to generate community connectedness are assumed to help reduce risk factors that lead individuals to radicalise to violent extremism. But there's really not been any robust review of the evaluation evidence to substantiate this claim. So our review sought to examine whether or not these police programs that proliferate across the world that really do aim to bring about community connectedness really do have an effect or not on violent extremism behaviour, attitudes and beliefs. So our goal was to examine the role of police in programs aimed at tackling violent extremism. We knew that police often work with communities and other agencies to tackle these problems of social isolation, lack of economic opportunity, the norms and beliefs that lead individuals and groups to radicalise or support extremism causes. So the review that we did looked at whether or not strategies that involve the police, either led by the police or police as partners in the initiation, development or implementation of programs aimed at building this community connectedness had an impact on reducing violent extremist beliefs and behaviours. So the inclusion criteria, we wanted to include studies that evaluated programs aimed at countering violent extremism by promoting community connectedness. So the interventions needed to have a police focus. So the police could be the recipients or the partners in the program development, initiation and or implementation. The intervention could be focused on individuals, places, schools, neighbourhoods or any other larger geographic location. We use the Global Policing Database and our team at the University of Queensland to conduct the search. You can go onto that website to look at the Global Policing Database that's housed at the University of Queensland. So in terms of the review, so in the GPD, the Global Policing Database, we were able to identify over 11,000 records that met our initial search criteria. We then screened those 11,000 plus records and identified 6,000 that we obtained the full text documents for. Those full text documents were then reviewed and we identified 244 of them that met our initial inclusion criteria. When we reviewed that corpus of materials, we found that just one of those documents actually met our criteria as being an impact evaluation that we could use to conduct our analysis. Now, of course, that's not enough to enable us to do any further analysis on. But we did identify a number of studies that were near misses, which I'll talk about in a moment. So in terms of that systematic search identifying just one study, it was a quasi-experimental evaluation of a Muslim-led intervention, and it was called the World Organization for Resource Development Education. It was conducted in the United States in 2015. And it aimed to counter violent extremism through a community-based education and awareness program. And the program aimed to improve referral networks for agencies or third parties to help assist individuals identified at risk of radicalisation. So the evidence from this study showed mixed small to medium effects on self-reported de-radicalisation measures that were in fact in favour of the treatment group. There was one survey item that looked like there was a backfire effect. But of course, this needs to be interpreted with caution because there was quite a few limitations in the study. So given the low number of studies that we identified, we wanted to look at these near misses. And so there was a total of 24 studies that contained some substantive content about community-oriented policing approaches for countering terrorism, extremism, or radicalisation. So here's just some examples of some near-miss studies. The Connect training program, the Complete public safety program, the Living Safe Together program, More Than a Game, an Australian-based study, the Edmonton Resiliency Project, and there was multiple community policing activities in a study conducted in Ethiopia. And there was a hotline or online reporting study, and there's some studies that looked at engaging the community in dialogue around countering violent extremism through social media. So we looked at those studies and summarised those in context to try to look at what kinds of programmatic elements hold some promise. But overall, what we've concluded is that investment really needs to be made in more robust measures to methods to evaluate these programs. We do acknowledge that it's quite difficult to conduct randomised controlled trials in this space, although I think that the quasi-experimental evaluations can be used to evaluate some of these programs. Thank you very much.